Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we are going to continue the topic standard forms. In the first lesson of standard forms, we just understand the meaning of standard form and how to convert a very big number or very small number or even if a normal number to the standard form. Standard form is written as a times 10 to the power of n. Here n is can be a positive or a negative whole number, and then a should be between 10 and 1. It should be it can be equal to 1 but not equal to 10, and here the exponent value of 10 should be used, so 10 should be the base. Now the question comes how to apply the operations on standard form. Operations include addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. First we start with the multiplication and division. So if you want to understand the concept of multiplication or division, you must know the two rules of indices also. And for that, you can refer to my videos. So the rule is if you have a to the power of m times a to the power of n, it is a raised to the power of m plus n. And second rule is a to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n. That will be equals to a to the power of m minus n. Now, for example, we have a question that 2 times 10 to the power of 4 multiplied by 19 times 10 to the power of 3. So if I see we can multiply, we have to multiply these two numbers written in the standard form. So what we do is we multiply the common simple numbers which are like a part of A. So like 2 and 19, we can multiply them together. They are without exponent values. So 2 times 19, and then we have 10 raised to the power of 4 times 10 raised to the power of 3. Now 2 times 19 is 38. And here we will apply our index law that a to the power of m times a to the power of n is equals to a to the power of m plus n. So this is going to be 10 raised to the power of 7. Now, when you get this result, after multiplication, you have to check whether your number is in a standard form. So as per the standard form, the number should be in this form. We have 10, right? We have 7, n as a non-fractional value, non-decimal value. If I look at a should be between 10 and 1. It can be equal to 1 but less than 10. But here we have 38. Now I want this number to be reduced. It should be between 1 and 10. So how can I reduce this number? We can reduce a number by division, and whichever division you have to do, basically we have to shift the decimal point. And whenever there is a shifting, we want the 38 to be just like a 3.8, then it will work for us. So by default, remember, like if I'm writing a number 38, by default, if a number is without even decimal, so a decimal, hiding decimal is always on the right side. But I want to shift this decimal in between, but I want to shift it here. And I want to shift it through one place. So one place means you need to make this number smaller. 3.8 is smaller than 38. To make a number smaller, we divide the number, and you have to divide it by 10. It depends upon how many places you have to shift. So you have to shift by one place. So you just need to make it 10. If you have to shift it by two places, so you have to divide by 100 and so on. Okay, so we have 38. I have to make it small because the number should be in between 1 and 10. So that means I have to make it small. Small means I need to do the division. And with which number you have to do the division? It will be always a multiple of 10, because then only the point can be moved. And to make that possible, we have here because we have to remove the decimal point from one place. So we will divide by 10. So it is 10 here and then times by 10 to the power 7. And because you are dividing by 10, so you have to multiply also by 10. So actually it remains 38. We are just dividing it so that we can change the form. But because we are dividing, we have to multiply also to make the number as it is. So now what we need to do, 38 divided by 10 is going to be 3.8 times Now I have 10 to the power 7 and this 10 to the power 1 will be adjusted with it. Nothing is written here, so that means it is 10 to the power of 1. So this is going to be 10 raised to the power of 8. So this is your number in the standard form. Whenever you multiply, whenever you add, you divide, you are dividing or you are subtracting, make sure the resulting number should be in the standard form. If it is not, we have to do it. So you have to see if your A is bigger, so you have to divide it by 10 or 100 or 1000 like that. And if your number is smaller, then you have to multiply by. Okay, let's take one more example. For example, I have 0.2 times 10 to the power of 3 multiply by 1.4 times, not 1.4, we can take a smaller number again. So 0.3 times 10 to the power of 4. Now here again we have the numbers without the 10 power expression. So we will multiply them together. 0.2 times 0.3 and then 10 times 3 times 10 to the power of 4. When you multiply these two numbers, you will be getting 0.06 and times by 10 to the power of 7. Now as per the standard form, our number should be in this form. This part is okay. But we have an issue with A because A should be less than 10 and greater than equal to 1. And our number is less than 1. So to make it a 1, we have to multiply. Now multiply, if I multiply it with 10, so it will move one step forward. But then it will be 0.6. But that doesn't work. Then if I make one more move, then it will be 6 point. So that means what I need to do is I have to make two moves. Two moves means if I have 0.06, if I have 0.06, I will times it by 100. So I need to divide it also by 100. So keep the number as it is. Now these two, 0.06 multiply by 100, this will become equal to 6 and 10 to the power of 7, and this 100 I will write it as 10 squared. And then I will combine these two 10 to the powers, I will apply the index law. So it will be 6 times 10 to the power of 7 minus 2. So the final answer will be 6 times 10 to the power of 5. Okay. Now let's take one example for the division. For example, I have a question. 6 times 10 to the power of 3 divided by 9, or let's say 9 times 10 to the power of 4. We are dividing two numbers. First, let's take one more simple example. Let's say I have 2 divided by 4 here. So we have first number as 2 times 10 to the power of 3 and second number is 4 times 10 to the power of 4. We have to divide them and convert it into standard form. So because we have these numbers 2 and 4, so 2 by 4 I will do, and 10 to the power of 3 over 10 to the power of 4. So it will be 10 raised to the power of 3 minus 4. So this is a half times 10 to the power of negative 1. Now half means it is 0.5 and times by 10 to the power of negative 1. As I divided this number, I found that my A should be between 1 and 10, but here it is less than 1. So that means if it is smaller, I need to multiply it by 10 or 100 like that, depending upon the question. So I have 0.5. If I move this decimal point by one place, so I will be getting a number 5. And that is here, that is valid to take 5. So that means I will times this 0.5 by 10. But if I divide multiplying, I have to divide also. So this will be the case. Now what we need to do is 0.5 times 10, these two values, this will give rise to 5 divided by 10 times 10 to the power of negative 1, which means it is equal to 5 times 10 to the power of this negative 1. And because this is in the division 10 to the power of 1, so this is again minus 1. So we are going to get 5 times 10 to the power of negative 2. So now our number is in the standard form. So this is the final result. Let's take one more question. For example, I have 4 times 10 to the power of 19 divided by 16 times 10 to the power of 3. So we have two numbers which are in the standard form and we have to divide them. So 4 divided by 16 is equals to 1.1 over 4. And if I convert it into standard like a decimal form, so it is going to be 0.25. So basically what I got 0.25 times, we combine these two, we apply the index law. So it will be 10 to the power of 19 minus 3, which will give rise to 16. So it will be 10 to the power of 16. Now, when I look at this number 0.25, it is corresponding to A, but A should be between 10 and 1. So this number is violating that rule. So what I need to do, because this number is smaller, I need to times it by. So I have 0.25. If I move this decimal point by one place, it would be 2.5 and that serves the purpose. So I will times it by 10, and to make the number as it is, I will divide by 10 also, and this is times by 10 to the power of 16. This part will be equal to 2.5 times 10 to the power of 16 over this 10 to the power of 1, which is 2.5 times 10 to the power of 5. I applied the index rule here and I got this answer, and this answer is in a standard form. Thank you.